Okay, we're going to pull this clutch apart on this Sportster. This is 91 and up. I don't know when they quit using it, maybe 07, 08, somewhere in there. This is originally 91. They started using, they called it a Fuji clutch because it was made by Fuji Heavy Industries. It's fairly simple. You got a diaphragm clutch. You got to compress the spring to get it out. So this is this kit here. Came with this does big twins and Sportsters. It's got two different studs on it. That's the big twin style stud right there, and this is a Sportster one. So you're just gonna thread this down on there, and I recommend putting never sees on the threads on this thing. I've already put never sees on this once. I've already used this thing once or more than once, but thread it down about as far as it'll go, really. And you're going to put the plate on there. You got a couple of washers with a little thrust bearing on there. And we're going to compress it down. Use a wrench to hold the stud with. You just want to compress this far enough to be able to get the clip out. If you try and do too far, you can bust this center ring out where it holds the snap ring. You'll tear it right out. So just enough pressure to get it out of there. And what you're trying to get out is this good position to show you really. There's like a little L bracket, which is right here. And you can't tell with this L. It's not really a bracket. It's retention ring holder, really. To keep the ring, you don't want the ring up against the spring plate. So what it does is this ring fits in these fingers right here. So you need to be able to compress it just enough to get it started. Let me see if I can get it started here. All right, so if you look for the edge of the snap ring, you'll see a section around the edge of the snap ring. You'll see a section on the fingers here where the clip isn't showing, which is right here. It will be all the way around. But you'll have one section where where it's empty. If you look here, that's your retainer that the clip sits in. That's just a pressed steel ring. And here is one end of the clip, and over here is the other end of the clip. We're going to start here and then kind of walk the clip out around, and you'll have to push down on this retaining ring, this L ring. I'll just call it an L ring from now on. Yeah, we should have it far enough down there. So if you look at how far down the L ring is here, you should have enough clearance between the L ring and the clip to be able to get it out. The L ring is moving quite a bit there. We should have enough room to get this, at least get the clip started out of here now. There we go. Need to walk it the rest of the way out. And that's it for taking that clip out. Now we're just going to leave that all together there. We're just going to leave that all together and go ahead and pull the whole assembly out. And that's our clutch and pressure plate, clutch spring and pressure plate there. Now you want to give the pressure plate a good inspection on the face here. Probably best to replace that snap ring. Give your pressure plate a good wipe off. And you're going to want to inspect it for any sharp edges or wear at all in there. This one appears to be pretty good. Yeah, sometimes they'll have a little divot on the edge here. If it's got that on there, get a new pressure plate. Upgrade it or get a Scorpion or whatever else you can get. That'll affect your stack height if there's any wear on here as far as your clutches go. Well, now we're just going to dump this out of here. Just because even if these are stock plates or not, and they look like it. Looks like stockers. So you're going to want to inspect all the plates for wear, any burn marks or just wear, and then we'll measure the thicknesses here in a little while. We're just doing a preliminary now. Now that's our spring washer that the clutch hub nut goes through, and it says it basically sits in there like this. It's got a bevel to it. That's kind of helps hold the clutch nut in place there because it's spring loaded. Doesn't really want to come out of there, but anyway, we'll take them out in a minute. Same thing. You're going to want to inspect all your steel plates for wear, burn marks, or whatever. And you're checking for flatness too. You can do that with on a sheet of glass with a feeler gauge. See if any of them are warped. So far, this thing looks fairly decent. Might put a heavier duty spring in here, but not sure yet. I don't see any wear on this clutch at all as far as plates go. Sometimes you have little blue marks around them, meaning that it's been pretty damn hot. And the big problem with these always has been since I started using these things. Yeah, we do have a problem here. Spring plate. On these spring plates, usually what happens is it's just got brass rivets in. These brass rivets, well, if you take your clutch out and take this spring plate out, this is just a damper plate. Kind of gives a little cushion to the clutch there. They started using these, started off with the iron heads, late 84, excuse me. So late 84 through 90 clutch, AP Lockheed, and it was not very good in the Sportsters anyway. Very adjustable. It had an adjustable spring plate on it, so you could change the spring tension as the clutch wore, which was a neat idea, but didn't really work very well. This one's actually screwed up, so I'm going to have to do an extra plate kit or something to do away with this. It's missing one of the rivets out of here, right here. Don't know where it went. Wasn't in the transmission anywhere. It's just gone. So what happens? These things go. Say you had a bike where the clutch seemed to work fine, and then all of a sudden it started dragging a lot. These rivets will come out and they'll get stuck in between the plates here, so you can never really fully release the clutch. So just imagine a brass rivet getting stuck in here between these. It's got nowhere to go because it's stuck inside the clutch shell here. It's stuck inside the clutch shell, and it's got nowhere to go. It's stuck in between the steel plate, stuck in between this plate here and one of the friction plates, and got nowhere to go. So it just gets jammed in there, and kind of imagine this pick stuck in between there like that. It's stuck. I have had them before though, where a lot of rivets come out, and they will get thrown out eventually. They'll go inside the grooves here. They'll get stuck inside the grooves. And I actually had some where I've had to replace the clutch shell and sometimes the clutch hub because it chews up the damn surfaces in here. And that's really it. Spring plate. So we do need a spring plate in here. So I'll be looking for a clutch. Let me get the rest of these plates out of here. So we can, let's pull the rest of these out of here. Yeah, I just swung it around, had the rivet fall out of it. There's the head of it right there. So we did have a rivet. There's the end of that rivet. We found it, so that's good. That's why the clutch wouldn't come out. Must be some of it still in there somewhere. A little bit there, a little bit there. We're having to kind of walk it out of here. So when you go back together with it, I'll have to inspect this clutch shell really good because it might have some damage in a few areas on the shell or on the hub. More than likely on the shell because it seems to throw the magnets out centrifugal force, you know. And we'll check them. I have good luck about using the Dremel and polishing out the shell, repairing the damage on the shell wherever it's damaged at. But you know, if it's so bad, it's so bad. Usually, though, you're able to repair it fairly easily. So there's no point even looking at them now because we already know they're messed up. I'm getting little chunks of metal out of there. You anyway. So yeah, it was eating some plates up. Yeah, it's a good thing to check that while you got it apart, pull it apart, inspect everything. We check out the clutch hub bearing too and see what it feels like. Yeah, I think we definitely got a burr in here somewhere. We'll have to clean it up and inspect lines in here on the clutch shell and on the hub too. But like I said, usually just on the clutch shell is where it's made up at. Okay, so we got one more in here. All right, so we got them all out of there eventually. Definitely gonna have to pay attention to the clutch shell. And while you got it out, you know, feel your clutch hub bearing. Should nice and free, no play to it. This one has no play, so we should be good there. We do need to check all the outside of the clutch shell here because that's where it's sticking out. The steel plates, which are driven by the hub itself, no problem whatsoever, other than a few of them were burnt, but we're putting the whole clutch in there. So just remember when you're going back together with this thing that you're going to start off with a fiber plate, which is fiber, and then a steel. Fiber, steel, fiber, steel. You're going to end up on the outside with a fiber plate where the pressure plate rubs up against it. But give it a good inspection, and going to have to order a clutch here. I don't know what I'll go with. You don't always want to go with what's cheapest, but clutches that I have had good faith in were Barnett. Always had good luck with Barnett's. With Dunlop pad or Dunlop pad, Dunlop pad, however you say it. They make a nice clutch kit. I think they're made in England, or they used to be. They make good brake pads too, and it's nice clutch kit. Comes with all the steels, comes with the fibers, comes with a heavy duty clutch spring and a nice plastic case. I think they're pre soaked. So you don't actually need to soak the fibers in oil before you put them back together. I normally do anyway. But I'm kind of leery whenever somebody says, "Oh, you don't need to soak them; you just throw them in there." Well, I'm soaking it in whatever fluid I'm using, which in this case I use basically 75, 80 weight gear oil. Is what I use, which is actually it's gear oil, but it's light. It's lighter than using 30 weight straight. But I'll be going back together with regular gear lube on this thing, or at least high pulley gear oil. GL5, I think it is. And that's our clutch setup. Need to do that, and probably going to order a primary chain too. We'll find out here in a minute. I'll do a video on primary chain here in a second. Hope everybody has a good weekend. Remember to set your clocks back tonight. That sucks, I know, but what are you going to do? It's time change, time change. And everybody have a good week coming up. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for watching. Everybody take care. Have fun. Be safe.